sustainable decor doesn't mean it's cheap. It means it has longevity. So it has characteristics when we're talking about sustainable decor and furnishings that allow it to be used indefinitely. And over long periods of time, it can be passed down and the pieces can be repurposed over and reused over and over again. We don't want sustainable products to break down or fall apart. And mainly they do that because the key elements don't have integrity. So you pay for quality once, or you get cheap and you keep paying for it over and over again. I'm Risha, and I've been helping luxury homeowners for over 15 years create beautiful homes they want to live in. In this video, I am going to share with you 5 tips to make you dangerously knowledgeable about sustainable decor. My first tip is natural isn't really natural. So the first thing that comes to mind is people think that leather is natural. Well, not true. Yes, animal hides will break down and decompose, but leather is not an animal skin that has been left to decompose. Leather is animal skin that has gone through a rigorous process to clean it and preserve it. It requires massive amounts of water and chemicals that allow it to maintain and not decompose over time. So we think, well, it can just be recycled. No, it's going to take a long time for it to recycle. Yes, it will break down because things do break down eventually. But leather will last and last and last because it's been treated to do so. You can't just take an animal skin without treating it and use it in your home for furniture, for upholstery, because it will decompose pretty quickly. And if you've ever seen roadkill, I mean, mind you, roadkill, of course, when it gets run over and over again, it's going to decompose, but it will eventually decompose and very quickly. That's not what leather is about. So natural isn't really natural. And there are other animal products that we consider natural that are also treated with chemicals and other products to keep them enduring over time. So one thing that is sustainable is vegan design. And what is vegan design? Vegan design is using alternatives to those animal products to create the same look, feel, style in your home. It's sustainable because it relies on less resources. We just spoke about leather. Well, faux leather uses a lot less resources, a lot less water, is created in conditions where there are regulations on the disposal of that water that's used in the creation of the treatment and the disposal of the water that's used in the creation of the vegan leather or the faux leather. That's not true with animal leathers. Animal skins, most of them in this world are processed in third world countries like Bangladesh, where there aren't regulations. And so the massive amounts of water that are used in those facilities are drained into the local waterways, which eventually find its way to the ocean, which touches all of us. So what happens across the world, eventually it will come to us here. And we're paying for that, not directly, but clean water is a valuable resource. My third tip is down is deadly. There's a misconception that down is the unused feathers of ducks and geese. However, 90% of the down that is plucked is live plucked. That means they take the live duck, the live goose, and they rip or pull the feathers out of its bodies, leaving the animals in pain, bloody, and without their natural coats to protect them, leaving room for disease. That's not sustainable. We're harboring these animals in places where they become vulnerable to disease, which can be passed on to other animals and other species, as well as we're pulling the feathers, the beautiful coats off of these animals for down. And there are alternatives that last longer have the same softness and malleability as a down. And you probably think of down mainly in pillows, or in upholstery goods. I bet there is at least one down pillow in your home. And there are great alternatives that last longer, have the same attributes, that can be used in your home, that don't rely on the use of an animal. So if you're finding these tips valuable and you're serious about your project, click the link below to schedule a complimentary discovery call. We'll hone in on what you really want done. My tip number 4 is cheap is not sustainable. Using products that don't have integrity does not have the longevity, so we're apt to buy and replace quickly. But is cheap really cheap? Or are we paying again and again, not just directly for the product, but also for the continual consumption and disposal of items that break and become useless and can't be reused? A great example of this is wood products. Wood has a natural integrity. When it's all wood, it can last hundreds of years. But if we look at the replacements, the cheap replacements, which are MDF or the wood products that are made from the dust and then a polymer to adhere them together to create a board, those don't have the integrity to carry weight and longevity. We can see that when you may be familiar with IKEA. That is most of what their products are made of. Easily can fall apart and break, and then it becomes useless for reuse. And then we pay for that to be disposed. Not only do we pay for it to be disposed of, but we're paying for this land for disposal areas. And these products don't readily become compost and soil again. So we're paying for it on the back end, not directly, but also we're paying for the continual consumption. If you buy a quality product that has the integrity and the well put together and the proper construction, it will outlast anything else, that it can be fixed. That's really important. So many of our products today are meant to break, and they're impossible to fix. You lose one little piece and then it doesn't work. So cheap is not sustainable. Buy it once, buy a quality product, and use it again and again. My final tip for making you dangerously knowledgeable about sustainable decor is animals are expensive. And in interior design, we use a multitude of animal products. What we don't see is the hidden cost of the animal products. So we don't think about the cost of creating that animal product, not just on the environment, but the labor to create. If you wanted to use the animal skin, you have to breed that animal, you have to raise the animal, and then you slaughter the animal in order to get its skin. Many people are under the misconception that, but the skin is a byproduct of the meat industry. No, it's not. And there's other animal products that we use, such as wool. So wool is, you think that the sheep need to be sheared, and they do. We also have to breed them, we have to raise them, and we have to keep them healthy so that they will have a life that allows them to grow their hair over and over again so we can shear them. That's an expensive proposition with the animal culture. We don't think about the cost of rearing and breeding and raising these animals. So animal products are expensive. And how sustainable is it to continue to raise animals? They require massive amounts of land as well as food and water. And then their waste product has to be disposed of. They are not an inexpensive option. If you like this video, you will love this one over here. Click here and I'll see you over there.